Our next speaker is Gary David, a professor of sociology and experience design at Bentley University. His consulting and professional speaking focuses on how to make connected environments, bridging social distance to make collaboration and cooperation possible. He's also the co-host of Experience by Design podcast, where they explore experience designs of all different kinds. Today, he'll be joining us to give his talk, Identifying Gifts to Spark Innovation. Give it up for Gary David.
While we might not fully realize it or appreciate it, giving gifts is really risky business. There's a certain amount of vulnerability that goes into giving somebody a gift, looking at what their reaction might be and hoping that they appreciate it in the way that we intended it. And perhaps nothing exemplifies this more than wedding or marriage proposal rejection videos. I think the pain we all feel when we watch these videos is because we've all been there before. I mean, we might have not been there before in terms of having someone that you're asking to marry you run away as fast as possible in public, or even hit you with a ukulele. So we might not have been there. If I have any advice for people to take away from this talk, it's if you propose to somebody, do it in private with no witnesses, just in case. But by being there, I mean that we might have all been in a situation where we're giving a gift and we really hope the person appreciates it. We hope they like it. We hope that the idea of giving it to them and what we look for them to what we look to see when they get it is actually there. So we all know what it's like to hope someone receives the gift that we're giving in a way that we wanted them to receive it. Why is this not? Okay, there we go. Okay. But we all do know what it's like around holidays such as Christmas. As a parent, I know that Christmas is perhaps the most stressful day of the year because my kids will give me all these lists of gifts they want, and I know I have to perform up to level. I have to perform to their expectations. And we can think about events like bridal showers or baby showers or birthdays or anything where gifts figure really prominently. And we want whatever we're giving to be appreciated. But there's another place, there's another context where gifts are given every day. And it's in those situations that gifts are most often not appreciated, they're not even recognized. People don't even know that the gifts they're giving are, or I should say that people giving the gifts don't even realize anybody knows they're giving the gift. That when they're giving the gift, there's just no reaction, no appreciation, no acknowledgement. And that location is actually the workplace. And the gifts I'm talking about here are the talents, the skills, the capabilities, the know-how, the experiences, all the things that people bring with them when they go to work. When I say employee talents are not appreciated, what I mean by that is two different things. First, research shows that on the whole, employees don't feel appreciated for their work. They largely feel unappreciated and unrecognized. A 2022 study by Bonusly found that 63% of workers feel unappreciated by their employer on a daily basis. And 46% of respondents have left a job because they felt unappreciated. Maybe something we can all identify with. A 2023 Gallup poll of global workers found that 59% of workers are not engaged and are, in essence, checked out from their workplace. And there's a lot more research that shows the same pattern, that people feel unappreciated for what they're bringing to the table, for the gifts that they're bringing in the jobs that they're doing. And this feeling, of course, has real consequences. We've all heard of quiet quitting recently, right? It's been in the news a lot, people quiet quitting. And it refers to this concept of people just not engaging. They're only doing the bare minimum. They're only doing what they have to do at their jobs. They're only doing what they need to do to fulfill their tasks to the smallest extent possible. And that is a problem. But I think the detachment that people are feeling in the workplace goes far beyond that to something more essential about ourselves. It goes to not recognizing the gifts and capabilities that people bring with them every day by ignoring the sparks that people have inside of them that they want to give, but that no one even notices or recognizes. And I do understand that in one kind of manner, because when we think about what people do at work, we only think about their job descriptions, right? We only think about those things that they have to do for their jobs. We don't think about anything else. But we also know that what we do at work is only a really small part of who we are overall. It only provides a small glimpse into what makes us, us. What makes me, me, or makes you, you. And if you think for a moment about all the talents and abilities that you have, everybody in this room right now, how often do you get a chance to fully exercise those things, whether at work or at school, on project teams, or anywhere? Do you really feel appreciated for everything you're bringing to the table? Do you really feel like people are identifying the gifts that you have of you? Or do you feel ignored because no one's really seeing all that you can contribute? What you need to think about and what we all need to keep in mind is when we do appreciate the full slate of gifts that people bring with them, that's when sparks can fly. That's when innovation can happen, and that's when amazing things can occur. After the bombing of Pearl Harbor, the U.S. Navy was in a bit of a predicament, right? Along with its battleship fleet being destroyed, they were faced with the issue of, we are getting a lot of signal traffic, a lot of intercepts from the Imperial Japanese Navy and the Japanese military. We're getting all this information, all these data points, and we don't have enough people to analyze it all. What do? Commander Joseph Rochefort was in charge of something called Station Hypo, which was the cryptology unit in Pearl Harbor. He and Chief Durwood Tex Rory had this issue of we need people to do work. It also so happened that the band of the USS California was in a predicament. You see, their instruments were still on the USS California, which was at the bottom of Pearl Harbor. So they were a band without instruments. It's a hard thing to be, right? So Rochefort and Rory had an idea. What if we took the band members who were doing nothing because they had no instruments and trained them to do work that we need them to do in the cryptology unit, Station Hypo? And while at first they were just doing things like, punching cards, kids today, the punch cards is how computers used to work, and typing up intercepts, doing manual labor, because they had the skill, the talent, the gift of recognizing patterns in music, because they had the gift of looking at musical structures and seeing those patterns replay over time, they found that they were actually pretty adept at helping with cryptology work. And as a result, they were able to use that gift. So rather than Rochefort saying, no, you're just MAB members, you don't know anything about the work we do, for which they were not qualified, Rochefort and Rory said, you have a special talent, a unique ability that we can actually use. And he deployed them as part of Station Hypo's efforts, and by all accounts, they performed more than admirably in their job. Not because they were trained, but because Rochefort was accepting the gifts that they were bringing. Valuing skills and abilities that people have and allowing them to contribute in meaningful ways becomes a vital aspect of creating these connected environments, of bringing pieces together that create innovation and make it possible. Another example is Jody Kretzman and John McKnight. They're community organizers, and they were exploring how do we get communities to develop? How do we get them to grow? How do we get them to create better situations for everyone in that community? Now, it used to be the case that experts would come into a community and look at everything that was wrong with the community. High crime, high drug rate, high alcohol abuse, low education, high unemployment, all the bad things, everything that was wrong. This is what's called a deficit model. There are things that are lacking in the community, and we need to fix them as experts. But John and Jody had a different idea. What if we focus rather on the deficits? What if we focus on the assets? What if we focused on the strengths? How could we use what's already there to build communities from the inside out? Now, to do this, they constructed something called an assets inventory, where they would go into communities and they would have people fill out a survey to say, what are your strengths? What are your capabilities? What are your aspirations? What do you know how to do? And by identifying these things, they were able to then use those as the foundation for community development. You can think about it as going to your kitchen and rather than saying, what don't we have, like all my kids do? There's nothing to eat. Like, it's full. Like, yeah, nothing that I want. Rather than that, you look at what you do have. You build something based on the materials you have available. You look at the resources, the assets that you have, and you put them to good use. This led to something called Assets-Based Community Development. And the Asset-Based Community Development, or ABCD Institute, is located at Loyola University in Chicago. And they've worked with countless numbers of communities to help them build based on their assets. Not what's wrong with them, but what's right with them, what they have to contribute, what they have to offer. One success story is Mercado Central in Minneapolis. It was opened in 1997 and is home to over 35 local businesses from the community and over $2 million in the first year of sales. Mercado Central was built in an area that was seen as nothing but deficits. But they also had a lot of assets. And it was built from the inside out using the talents, the capabilities, the skills that were already there, but everyone ignored. No one noticed. They weren't recognized or appreciated. And this kind of success has been seen in other communities as well. It's been replicated over and over again. And it shows what can happen when you appreciate the gifts that people can bring. We all want to be appreciated. It's a basic human need that we all have. And we all want to make a difference through seeing these skills being utilized. And research has shown that when people can contribute meaningfully, they are more connected. They do feel more involved. They are willing to give more of themselves because they know what they're giving is recognized. And that's what we all want. We all want to feel seen and appreciated for what we can do. Hobbies, natural abilities, innovative approaches, unique experiences, hidden talents, all of these things. People have any number of gifts that they can bring to the table. But they can only do so if they're given the chance to do so. They can only do so if we are willing to accept the gifts that they're offering us and not run away and not ignore them. And ultimately, people want to feel recognized for the most precious gift that they're trying to give, and that is the gift of themselves. Thank you.